As many of you know, Skyrim VR is my #1 favorite game by a wide margin. And a big reason for that is the sheer number of mods that are available to customize the game however you like and also keep the gameplay fresh. So even after 500 hours of playing, I'm still thoroughly enjoying this game. Now, I won't be going over my entire mod list, that would take way too long. I will link to my entire mod list down below if you want to see it, but for this video I'll be showcasing just my personal favorites. Without further ado, let's get started with the essential mods, the ones I cannot live without. The top of that list would be SkyUI. I'm pretty sure everyone else already knows about this one, but if you don't, it revamps the inventory and menuing system to be much more intuitive and powerful. And once you navigate your inventory with SkyUI, there's no going back. And speaking of menus, Custom Favorites menu will obviously revamp your favorites menu. It displays everything into nice and logical categories, like weapons, spells, etc. And there's plenty of real estate, so you should be able to see all of your favorites at once. What I'm showcasing here is a specific preset for this mod. That's a separate download, but I'll link to that also below. I absolutely hate spiders in VR, so the mod Insects Begone is indispensable. You can choose to remove spiders, insects, and choruses, but I personally just choose to remove spiders. It replaces all of them with invading bears. And I actually consider this mod somewhat lore-friendly, because you'll occasionally see a custom loading screen explaining that the bears have invaded and killed all the spiders, in kind of a big nature migration kind of way. And of course, that's why they are called invading bears. There is one downside to this mod. It doesn't play well with other monster mods. If another monster mod adds custom spiders, it will almost always crash the game. So I could never get it to play nice with Beasts of Tamriel, unfortunately. And the monster mod Immersive Creatures, I could only get to play nice with it after I manually removed the spiders from Immersive Creatures using Xedit. So while I do consider Insects Begone indispensable, it can be a bit of a pain with other monster mods. Cathedral Landscapes is my grass overhaul of choice. It was actually created from the ground up with VR performance in mind. They took the original grass models and reduced the polygons, so even though it's giving you denser grass, it actually performs better than vanilla grass. Like here in the Whiterun Tundra, I used to get skipping and stuttering all the time, but after installing Cathedral Landscapes, even with all of this lush grass, it performs better. I highly recommend it. Realm of Lorkhan is a beautiful alternate start mod, which lets you start your brand new characters in a whole new way. You begin the game in this heavenly realm, almost like an afterlife, or I suppose pre-life is more accurate. Choose your race and name just like always, but you can also choose a standing stone before you start, and there's some elementary starting gear to choose from as well. To leave the realm and begin your game, there are several teleporting shards that take you to various locations in Skyrim. Choose where you want to go and you'll magically teleport to that location to begin your journey. This alternate start mod looks and plays great in VR, and it's my personal choice whenever I start a new game. If you've ever noticed while wandering through Tamriel that distant objects will often pop in unimmersive ways, then DYNDOLOD is for you. DYNDOLOD massively reduces the popping in of objects. So as you approach cities, windmills, or just about anything, they transition smoother and just look better as you approach them instead of popping in. I will admit that the installation for this mod is a little daunting at first, but I found a fantastic guide on the Skyrim VR Reddit, and I'll link to that guide below. The installation is definitely more involved than any other mod, but once you try it, there's no going back. For me, Skyrim is primarily an archery game. So here's my 3 favorite archery mods that make a big difference in gameplay. First of all, Locational Damage will damage enemies based on where you hit them instead of every single arrow registering the same. So this way, a headshot is actually more damaging than any other shot. I find this especially great playing at higher difficulty levels, so with the more challenging gameplay, I almost have to hit headshots to have a chance against the enemies. And a perfect complement to this mod is Scoped Bows VR. This is a modified version of the original Scoped Bows mod, but the models have been tweaked so that the scoped eyesight is actually correct when you're viewing it in VR. And sniping bad guys this way is super fun.
Empire, rise up, Stormcloak! Embrace the word of mighty Dalos!
Help! Someone do something!
And my final archery recommendation is elemental arrows. These arrows will only show up or be craftable at higher levels, but they're worth waiting for because they're incredibly powerful. Crafting them will require all kinds of unique ingredients, but of course it's also great to find them on enemies or chests. There's a variety of special abilities these arrows grant you, like freezing enemies, causing explosions, gusts of wind that are almost like miniature shouts, and more. I find that the elemental arrows really spice up the later gameplay, and it's incredibly fun playing with these. And now for a handful of overall gameplay mods. Skillful Chef will give you alchemy experience whenever you cook food. And this has really changed my early gameplay style. I never used to cook food because I didn't find it had much of a benefit, but now at the start of a new game, I'll start to collect ingredients so I can create soups. And in doing so, I'm getting alchemy experience at the same time. So Skillful Chef has made cooking actually interesting to me. Skyrim Recycling will let you use a smelter to break down weapons and armor into ingots that you can reconstruct into other things. I don't think this works for enchanted items, but it's still useful nonetheless. I'm much more likely to pick up weapons and armor that I'm not interested in, knowing that I can go back to town to create ingots and also get smithing experience at the same time. Eldritch Battery revamps how mana recharges in Skyrim to be more like modern games. After expelling some mana, just wait for a little bit and then your mana will recharge very quickly. Now it may seem kind of cheap to play with this on, but I find that this drastically improves early games for mages, because playing as a mage in the early game, mana potions are really hard to find. And having your mana recharge this quickly makes early mage games way more fun. Vokrii is my perk overhaul of choice. I know that Ordinator is the 800-pound gorilla of perk overhauls, but I find that with Ordinator there's so many compatibility patches you have to install for other mods that patching for Ordinator quickly gets complex and not worth the hassle. Vokrii, however, is a minimalistic perk overhaul, so I don't have to deal with more than 1 or 2 compatibility patches. That way the installation is nice and simple, and this adds a lot more options for your perks. Animated Clutter is a mod that doesn't add gameplay necessarily, but it really increases my immersion inside the world. Whenever you open any kind of storage container, it'll give you a really nice animation suggesting that you're opening it up. Like barrels, sacks, etc. The Thieves Guild caches are especially cool when they open up. So it's a small improvement, but it goes a long way in feeling immersed inside the game. And now for some hidden gem mods that you might not have known about. With few exceptions, most inns inside Skyrim look like copycats of each other. InnCredible revamps all of the inns that look the same to be more unique for their towns. All of the custom interiors look fantastic, and it's great to have every inn feel unique. Skyrim Trading Posts adds a handful of independent trading posts throughout the land. Each trading post has a certain set of loot that you may or may not find useful, but I find whenever I'm wandering and happen to come across one of these trading posts, it's a welcome sight, as I can usually sell off a few items.
Take a look.
If you're playing one of those games where you choose not to fast travel between locations, coming across these trading posts is a nice little bonus, and having these independent shops outside of towns makes the world feel a little more realistic to me. Audiobooks of Skyrim is exactly what it sounds like. Virtually every single book inside the game now has an audiobook for you to listen to. And I love starting an audiobook before going on a long walk or continuing inside a dungeon. If you've always been curious what's inside these books but don't want to take the time to read them, then this is a must try.
The Locked Room by Porbert Lightumley. How a pupil outlocks her cruel picklock instructor. Iano is precisely the kind of student her mentor Arthkemu despised, a professional amateur. He enjoyed all the criminal types who were his usual pupils at the Stronghold, from the common burglar to the more sophisticated blackmailers.
Nether's follower framework is my follower framework of choice. It's much more lightweight than most of the others, but it still has tons of functionality, and this mod is being updated all the time. If you like managing large parties of followers, definitely try this one. Spells Clean is kind of a utility mod. It's not very sexy, but I find it incredibly useful. You'll find that many other mods install configuration spells that you can't get rid of. Spells Clean allows you to hide those configuration spells so they don't clog up your magic menu. And finally, we're finishing off with my personal favorite new land expansion mod, and that's Beyond Skyrim Bruma. I did a small Let's Play of this mod a while back, I'll link to that below, but basically this is a teaser for what's promised to become a much bigger expansion mod in the future. Even though it's a teaser, this mod is DLC sized, and inside the land of Bruma, you're going to find so many new characters and adventures to go on. Out of all the new land quest expansion mods, this is the highest quality production value I've ever seen. And amazingly, it's all run by a team of volunteers. It's awe-inspiring, to say the least.
My thoughts exactly. Adventures like this are why I joined the college.
And what's even more impressive is that the Beyond Skyrim team is planning to recreate every single province inside Tamriel, including Morrowind. For example, this Bruma mod is a teaser for what will eventually become Beyond Skyrim Cyrodiil, and to my knowledge, 2 other full expansion mods are coming soon, Beyond Skyrim Atmora and Roscrea, which won't have teasers, but they'll be full-sized expansions coming soon. Based on the quality I've seen in Beyond Skyrim Bruma, I'm incredibly excited to see every mod this team creates. And they're always looking for volunteers, so if you're interested in joining the team at all, I recommend you check out their Discord, which I'll link to down below. What all of these volunteers are doing is pretty incredible, and I can't wait to see what they come out with next.
So this is the thief, Captain? You mean to say that my artifacts have been found?
Yes, Count Carvain. You stole your artifacts and attempted to deliver them to the bandits operating in the Bruma Caverns.
I see. Well, of course, I expect he should be prosecuted to the full extent of the law.
Well, that's it for now. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you see, please subscribe. See ya!